Boys USA, yeah!
This is Car Bros Podcast episode 52.
The Big 5-2.
Big 5-2.
We have a special guest calling in today.
Yeah. We have our first guest.
It's Coyne.
It's me. All right.
So, yeah.
I'm going to give you the full story now as to why this is so fucked up.
Let's just say this is the second time doing this because it just fucked up once.
Yeah. So let me sell you on the future, basically, is that we're thinking of transitioning the podcast into live stream only. So that every episode will be relevant and live and whatever. We're trying to figure out which day.
And have more
Wednesday.
audience interaction and everything like that.
Yeah, like the live streams are fun. And so we're like hoping to do more of those, basically. That's the goal. Right now, we're like in this weird super alpha test.
Pretty much.
Kind of thing. We've been trying to set this up for like the past 3 hours. We just recorded like 10 minutes of a podcast and it fucked up. And so we had to start completely over. And so we were right on the brink of like, let's just not do this. It was like, no, we haven't done a podcast in so long that we should just do it. So this is what you get. Our apologies for it being so janky.
Yeah.
But the way that we do podcasts currently, and let me explain why this is so much better, is that I live 3 hours away from these jokers. And so once a month, about once a month, sometimes twice a month, I will drive down. I'll do a day trip. So I drive 3 hours in the morning, show up, and we record like 2, 3, 4 podcasts in a day. We try to ideally get like the entire month's podcast done, including the Patreon only one, in a row. So it's like 3 to 4 hours of like straight car talk. And then I drive back. So it's 6 hours on the road, 4 hours of podcasting. And I don't know if it's
30 minutes of Popeyes.
Yeah, 30 minutes of Popeyes. I don't know if it's completely clear to the audience, but it seems clear to us that like certain podcasts will just be like crazy low energy and like tired and like kind of forcing it.
End of the day.
And it's because we've done like 3 before that and we're trying to like show up with all this enthusiasm.
And we're running out of topics because
we're like, we have to like build up all these topics. So it just makes it like, we're stuffed. It just makes it tough. It makes it tough to do. And so this would not only make it easier on us, but the topics I feel like would be better because they're more relevant and like we have more energy and they'd be live. The list goes on. The only downside is, I guess there isn't a downside. Once we get the hardware figured out, ideally this should like sound as good as it did before. So that's the game plan. This is just, we're not there yet.
This is not a representative product.
No,
This is not, But we wanted to not give you nothing. So that's what's going on.
That's long
so here we are.
and the short of it,
Yeah. I am in my roommate's bedroom. It's the suite.
It's dormitory.
Barry Bonds posted behind me.
Shout out to Barry
Bonds.
Bonds.
12. Anyways. So here we are. Okay, so the other thing we wanted to update was the Monterey video. That's coming along. There's just a shit ton of footage to get through.
Yep.
We recorded events from like multiple cameras.
Yeah, we have a pretty good idea of the overall kind of flow and narrative of it. It's just piecing everything together.
Yeah.
It's not, I wouldn't say that it's hard work. It's just very different work than what we've done before.
It's very tedious.
Yeah, but
there's just the amount of footage is just, it's up there.
Yeah, but
that's coming along.
Yeah, but we can tell the stuff that we do have that is going to be shown is going to be pretty sweet. So
yeah, it's pretty solid. The story is great. So I think September. Still realistic to get that out. So that's the goal. We're plugging away on that. The other thing that did for me is I think that whole experience kind of proved the viability of kickstarting projects for us, because we want to do things that are like that, where they're kind of more grand and they need some sort of funding and, like that kind of thing. And so to me, it's like, I look at that like, I mean, it was a huge success. We ended up doing something that was extremely funny to us.
Right.
But like, what is just far beyond anything we would have done without that funding and support. And so that was pretty encouraging to me, because there's a bunch of other stuff like that we want to do. And I like the idea of like, if people want it, they'll help make it happen. Otherwise it won't happen. And, it's like everyone wins. We deliver the thing that they wanted and we get to do a thing, and it helps us focus our projects more. So,
and ultimately that's also part of what we want to do. Part of another reason why we're moving to this a little bit more remote format for the podcast is so we can spend less physical time on that and more physical time on film projects.
Yeah, basically it'd be like, when we do decide to get together, we can focus on videos. I'll probably still be doing the like day trips or weekend trips or whatever. It's just we won't have to at all work on the podcast.
Right. That'll be a totally separate, like a week thing in the project.
So ideally, in like a week or two, this will be fairly dialed in.
Yeah.
And we'll be back up quality wise, and then we'll have something that's like a regular live podcast at some point, because those are just a ton of fun and we've wanted to do more of those. So that's what's up.
Sounds good.
Apologies
again.
You're welcome. Okay, so where did this come from? This comment.
This is actually this is a Patreon comment from it's a little old. Apologies for that, but I think it was from right before Monterey, I want to say. But Jonathan asked, he said, after listening to all 50 podcasts, which is pretty fucking sweet in itself.
Yeah.
They
awesome.
just started. I especially like when someone comes on late and then goes back through
the catalog,
60 hours of content. But apparently he said he went on a 15-hour road trip only listening to us, which is sweet. But he was that's right, the other guy that's
teasing the guy who did the 15-hour road trip.
The bush league.
Right now we've got like 40 hours.
Yeah.
So he fucking powered through. Like, I like to think that he was just on like meth.
Caffeine pills and meth.
He's like locked himself in his room and listened to our podcast.
He says, Mr. 15-hour road trip ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
But anyway, he says Mini isn't mentioned once, and I think he's right. I don't think we've ever talked about
probably not. Yeah,
brand Mini. And he says the two-door hardtop is the classic go-kart and joy to drive. The factory John Cooper Works exhaust sounds damn good. The wagon with stick and all-wheel drive is the sexiest sleeper since the Volvo 240. So basically, he's asking why haven't we talked about Mini and what are our thoughts on Mini.
But I think the biggest reason we haven't talked about it is that we don't know anything about it.
That's probably true.
Yeah, well, one thing that's interesting is, well, at least where John and I live is a city of, like 600,000 people?
Yeah, something about that. More than 500,000.
Yeah, it's like the fourth biggest city in California or something.
Yeah.
And there's no Mini dealer in this city. And there's
really?
never
It's a separate dealer?
Yeah, there's never been one, like, since the brand started.
Oh, I thought they were sold at BMW.
They're built by BMW, but a BMW Mini dealer is not the same.
Oh,
I mean, in some places they might be, but it's not. The BMW dealer here does not sell Mini.
Oh, they don't? I didn't know that. They just service them and stuff like that?
I don't even think they service them, to be honest.
Well, then there you go.
So how do you buy one?
I mean, you just have to drive a couple hours
the Bay Area or something,
to LA, wherever.
Oh, that's wild. Okay.
Which I didn't realize that. I'd say for me at least, that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
Because it's not even like, it's never even really come up for consideration as a car.
Totally.
Like, because assuming you bought one, like you have to take it there for service, or even just if you want to drive one. So it's never even like entered my list of, not because I really have anything against it. I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that. I guess I just assumed they came from BMW dealers, but now that you talk about it, I never see them. there.
Yeah, there's obviously many dealers, just not nearly as many. And we have a Fiat dealer and an Alfa Romeo,
Right.
but yeah, no Mini, which is weird.
Okay, yeah, well then I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, there's one in Sacramento, there's one in Oakland or Concord.
Right. Yeah, there's
like-
not that many of them. It's kind of like a niche.
There must be one in like LA, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's several down there. But,
Oh, there's a couple. I see them now.
but
Yeah, not that many though. Huh? Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
fuck
but I mean,
that.
it's like, and that's so it's also for that. It's like not like we've known someone that has one. It's like, oh yeah, let's drive.
Yeah, the only,
Whatever.
I mean, I
Someone
see them
sounds
around
Mini.
town all the time.
Yeah, you
but
see. I mean, yeah, you see.
I just
you see
remember
them here
in
and
high
there.
school, like when the Mini first came out, I was in my Prelude, and did Sean's brother have one, or did he have a friend that had one? Or my
Somebody had one.
Yeah, I just remember I raced one, and it was even the supercharged version, like the 2003 supercharged one, and I smoked him in the Prelude. So I was like,
Smoked
those
him.
things suck.
No, actually, I do remember I drove that one, the early one that was like the non-S with like the shitty CVT.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you see?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was one of my formative experiences
Right.
Yeah.
with Mini. So
Yeah, I really don't know anything about them. Are they like reliable?
I don't know.
Not
Maybe.
particularly. At least the early ones, I don't think were.
Huh.
The newer one, I think the newer ones are just the same as whatever front wheel drive stuff BMW makes.
I think Jonathan's gonna have to school.
Yeah.
No, they've always seemed like fun and sort of cool in
Yeah.
the right guys, but yeah, I just don't have the personal experience with them.
Yeah, same. Well, so that's why.
Hopefully
It's
that.
nothing against them. I do think they are neat. Like I don't dislike them when I see them. But yeah, I don't think I've ever like looked for one for sale or like looked up anything about
Yeah.
them. They have like 200 horsepower. Yeah, I am surprised though. Like when he wrote that, I was like, oh yeah, and like maybe it is in other places, but I'm kind of surprised that brand didn't blow up a bit with like youth kind of like or subculture kind of things.
Yeah, I think that's
They
kind of what they
don't.
wanted to be.
I mean, it's probably just because
Yeah.
aren't they pretty expensive?
They get pretty expensive
Yeah.
quick. I know, like I'm sure their base prices are cheap, but it's just like a BMW. They fucking
Right.
skyrocket.
Yeah, I mean maybe that does happen. There's probably like mini specific little like car meets and stuff, but surprised you don't see it more. Some like dumped kind of like stanced.
There's one around.
Minis
There's one
or
around
something.
my neighborhood that I see. It's like an orange one. It's lowered with some wheels and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
dumped, but it's
And the other thing is the brand hasn't really seen. I mean, it's evolved. It's
Yeah.
like grown. You know, there's new products, but it hasn't seemed to like gotten cooler. It's like it hasn't really done anything special since it came out. It's
Yeah,
not.
they haven't like
there-
been
there's-
super relevant.
Yeah, well, there's never been. Oh, have you seen the new Mini?
Right,
Or
yeah.
whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, here's another like kind of mini shaped
yeah.
vehicle that's a little bit more. It's like they just made their cars
Yeah.
more practical.
Yeah,
no-
you either like the flavor they have or you don't.
It's not like have you seen that new like rear wheel drive mini sports car? It's like no, that's not
Yeah,
what they
that'd
do.
be sweet.
Uh-huh.
That'd be awesome.
It's like an M2 with a mini badge, like
You
round
haven't seen that
headlights.
mini with like a V8 in
Uh-huh.
it? Like some like tiny V8 or something. That'd be fucking sweet. A rear drive, like 3-liter V8 mini.
Uh-huh.
I'd drive that. Yeah. Well, I think we just fixed that brand.
Yeah.
Fucking done.
That was what was wrong with them.
Okay, so speaking of things we do talk
Yeah.
too much about,
We had a heated discussion.
is that where this came from? Just that like text?
Yeah, when was that?
discussion?
Like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Probably.
I don't remember how it started. Do you? We should have like looked this back
You
up.
were just like new Supra, man, it's sweet or something.
I think I had. I think part of it. BMW did this thing where I think they do it across the country, but it's called the like M Town tour, and yeah, M Town. Sounds like a boy band.
Uh-huh.
M Town came into Sacramento.
Just sounds like
and
an
I saw
abbreviation
them.
of Motown.
Isn't that it sounds like a K-pop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, M Town. I got
Who's your
autographed.
favorite member of M-Town?
So anyways, M Town came through and they sent me an email. I think because like one time I got like an oil change at the dealership and it's like, oh, you have an M5, and so it's like they send me a bunch of like M specific stuff as if I'm like
A big shot.
wealthy enough to care about the new stuff. And so this thing is like invite only, and it was a couple months out, and you sign up for a time slot for a car. You pick a car, and then you pick a time slot. And I've done some stuff like this before where it's like, show up and they like rent it out a parking lot and you can do like a little 30-second autocross course or like something. Like it's not uncommon for manufacturers to have like public plays with the new car day. And so I was like, like I'll sign up. And then we'll see what it is. And so I signed up to drive a new M5 competition and an M2 competition. And so the day came, and I was like waffling back and forth because I was like, I don't want to drive like a half hour to this like lame thing. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go. And it actually turned out to be, I mean, honestly, one of the better kind of like those experiences that I've had. Not that I've had a ton, but it was like, oh, what's your name? Okay, here's your badge, and here's your car.
Welcome to M10.
Yeah, they just put you in a car and they pre-program a GPS loop. It was about a 3 or 4 mile loop, and you just go. There's no one in the car. You just drive as hard as your car. Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like, I don't know, you might get a ticket. Like,
yeah,
it's not a controlled environment. Right. They just let you go out onto the street. It's basically a test drive, but without anyone in the car. And so I drove the M2 and the M5, and they're both sweet. I mean, they're about what you'd expect. They're awesome. They're really fast.
I wonder what happens if you go off route. Like if you just start venturing off. Like if they track.
I don't think they track it.
No.
Like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Get mad at you? Or something? Just fucking road trip that thing. Just leave.
Blast Palm Springs.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So anyways, I drove an M2, which I had not driven before, and I liked it a lot. But I really liked the transmission. It has a dual clutch, and I think the Supra doesn't. I think the Supra's a ZF.
Yeah.
But I was like, shit, man, I don't really know if I'd want this with a stick. Like, as much as I would have thought I would want it, like, that auto is pretty good. It's pretty amazing. And my big criticism of the Supra was that it didn't have a stick.
Yeah. And
those cars are, like, essentially the same formula. Like, literally. And so I was like, shit, maybe I do like the Supra. And so it kind of, like, reignited my Supra interest.
Passion.
Other than the fake vents,
yeah,
which is still embarrassing. But I started looking at the Supra more, and I was like, "Fuck, man, I'm kind of feeling the Supra." And I think I said something like, "The new Supra basically makes old Supras look dumb."
Yeah, I'm like
I think it's gonna like cripple the value of the Mark IV.
I don't know about that. I don't think it's gonna affect the value of them, but it's such a better car. I mean, it's a modern car, and you know the generation gap is huge just because the Mark IV hasn't been made for over 10 years.
Like 20
yeah, and so we were texting, and like that kind of set off a little.
Yeah,
it was a little argument bomb through text.
Little triggered.
Because like I started thinking about it. I was like, fuck, like.
Well, I was saying like usually
what does the old one do?
Yeah, I was saying like usually when there's like a car is whatever reborn, that it usually makes the value of the originals like go up, if anything. Like
you just shut you down.
That's basically how the argument started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my whole thing is like if the next generation of a car is everything that the previous generation was, but better, then the old one just loses value.
What about the NSX?
I mean, I think that makes sense, but it's just not the case because cars like have like such a presence about them. Like, you know, the Mark IV Supra is like the dream car for most people, so it's not going to affect the value.
Yeah, I suspect
they're not going to scratch that itch by buying like the new.
Yeah,
I think they would. I mean, here's the thing. What'd you say? NSX?
Yeah,
the new NSX is nothing like the old one,
but it's better. I mean, like technically, it's better.
But you could say like oh, the old one's like tiny. The styling is like retro. It's manual transmission. It's naturally aspirated. Like it drives in just like a much different way. It's kind of like that old Honda feel. Like it's different. It'd be like C5 Corvette to C6. That's a good example where it's like, unless you just love the way a C5 looks, there's not really anything it does better than a C6. It's an identical formula, just made better. But the engine's better, the interior's better.
But there was no break in production for the Corvettes. Like, the C5 was made, and the next year the C6 came out. Whereas in the NSX and the Supra, there's like this huge gap.
And it's not like the C6 was like built by Alfa Romeo or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, but it does all the things that the previous one did. It'd be like if there was no C6 and then the C7 came out. Like C7 pushed C5 even further. There's a generational gap there. It's like it's the same formula.
I mean,
it's identical formula.
You have sound logic. It's not the case. I mean, it makes sense. It's like, when a new piece of hardware comes out.
But I think it's because people don't buy a car like that because it's the best.
Right.
That's why I think they went up in value originally, because there was a long period of time after they had come out. I guess it wasn't that long, 2001 to 98. Isn't that when they ended production?
Yeah, something like that. At least here, yeah. Where
it was just like, meh, like Supra. It was a cool car, but it was kind of like in the mix.
But it was also a different car when it was the whatever Mark IV was a different car than the new one. Like its place in the market was quite a bit different than the new one.
Yeah, it was. I just think they got so kind of infamous because there was nothing after them. It was just like, it's still there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's just nothing. You can't get something else. And now that they made a new one, it's like, what does the old one do that's better? Like
nothing, but it's nothing. It still has that nostalgia though.
But no old cars are better than a new one in most cases.
They do things, but they do things that new ones don't do. It's like the old M3. It's like, it's fucking ultra analog, super light.
I would say like people having a Toyota motor and a stick and all the bullshit that comes with those cars that's like the only fucking selling point of those things.
That's what I mean. It is now, because the new one just took everything.
But it's always been no one in recent years has bought a Supra because it's like the fastest car they can get. Or
I think a lot of the enthusiasm for that car was because it looks really neat, and I think the new one looks better, and it's a very fast car. And the new one's way faster, unless you like mod the absolute shit out of it. I think it's going to take a lot of the wind out of the sails, not for the like kind of dedicated Toyota enthusiasts, but for a lot of the kind of fanboys that built up the wave of enthusiasm.
But I mean, I feel like if you're a fanboy of the old Supra, you're especially adept to like hating the new one. Because it's everything that the old one isn't really.
It's everything the old one is. It's the same car. The only thing it's not.
No, it's smaller. There's no stick. It's not made by Toyota. It doesn't have all the like reputation of the engine, which is that's the stuff that made that car so special, quote unquote.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. At least.
Yeah,
I think
we'll see. We'll watch. We'll see if. Mark IV Supra values start plummeting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to plummet, but like a couple, I don't know, 20 podcasts ago, I was like, man, if there's one car you can buy that's going to be worth like $1 million, it's Mark IV Supra, and I don't feel that way anymore. I think it kind of like, I think it affected it in kind of a bummer of a way for everyone who was like hailing that thing as the best car ever.
Right.
Because the new one, man, just fucking kills that thing. Makes it look dumb.
Yeah, I want to go check them out. They're at dealerships now. Like the local dealership has one on display. So
yeah, apparently we saw a couple in Monterey. I didn't actually
Oh, didn't we?
I didn't physically see them.
I didn't actually see one.
There's one in a parking lot.
Yeah.
I think if you went to a car show and rolled up in a Mark IV Supra and then rolled up in a Mark V, people would go to the Mark V.
Right now, they
Right,
would,
yeah,
yeah.
of course they would right now.
I feel like
Most
in
of
a
them I've
year
never
or two, it would be about equal, I would say.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to
We'll fucking see.
write down episode 52. We'll settle this debate.
Come back.
Yeah, we'll settle it. Because they're only going to make that car cooler. Like, they're only going to
Yeah.
improve that thing.
Yeah.
And I think, like, there's just not going to be a lot of reasons to like the old one. Other than, like, no, it's like BMW. You know, it's all these, like, reasons that don't really matter.
Right.
Like, it's not a Toyota. It's
Well,
like,
they don't matter in like the strict sense, but they matter in the like collector car sense. I think they've just been amplified, if anything.
Yeah.
No way. No way.
Once
see.
Fast 9 or 10 has a Mark V Supra in it, then they'll be about equal.
History or time will settle this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
No.
Okay.
Listeners
so,
can chime in what they think.
Yeah, let us know what you think. I mean, at first I was like, oh, this is so dumb. It's a BMW, like all the standard stuff. And now that it's kind of coming out and the reviews are generally like very positive,
Yeah.
it's like a super competent car and they're fast as fuck. Like the motor is dynoing like
Yeah, it's very
listed
underrated,
crank
right?
horsepower to the wheel. Yeah, it's like the thing's just gonna murder an old one. Unless it has like whatever 600 horsepower or something, but there's already people
putting on bigger
getting
turbos and
600
stuff.
But I mean,
Yeah.
there's a shitload of cars that'll murder a stock Mark IV Supra.
Yeah, but they're not called Supra. it's like basically the new Supra visually looks like what someone would have wanted the Mark IV to look like.
Maybe, yeah.
I think so. Because the Mark IV Supra, the other thing is, they're not that great stock. That's why you can't find them stock. Like, they're mediocre stock.
The tuner bug.
Everyone fucking, everyone, that's like the tuner bug car. And so it's like, you clearly can't say like, well, but like stock, it drives like amazing. And like, it sounds weak. It's like 300 horsepower or something. It's like, you have to mod that car to try to compete with a new one. And the new one, as is stock, is already better. And it's only going to get better. I think they're going to have some like insane versions of that thing. Maybe not insane.
Track edition thing. Yeah.
They will continue to improve that thing. Yeah, I suspect.
We'll see.
I think so.
This
I think we're gonna see
discussion,
less
it
enthusiasm.
kind of ties in with another Patreon comment from Vadim. He says,
What's up, Vadim?
he said, we've come dangerously close to discussing this like we are now, but share our thoughts on the dynamics of car owners who have the same car but different renditions / generations. Like respect your elders and vice versa.
Well, the respect your elders thing, anytime I see that, if you don't know what that is, it's like people will have the older model of a car.
Yeah.
And when I say older, I mean like
Cheaper.
2 to 15 years range. Like there's no set range. I've seen people put respect your elder stickers on like one generation old things. And then, like,
E46.
Yeah, like a 20,
Yeah,
like 14
but,
Civic
like,
SI or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like usually it just feels like they just didn't have the money for a new one.
Right.
And like that's them like grasping at some relevance. You know, like respect me for choosing this. Like you didn't choose that. You'd fucking sell that thing in a heartbeat for a new one.
I remember. I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but we used to joke around people that had the AE86, like when the FRS BRZ came out, and they were like, "Oh, respect your elder." Like I'd prefer to my AE86 over a FRS. It's like, no, you wouldn't. Like, you totally would want an FRS instead of this car.
I'd rather have my $5,000 car than that $20,000 car.
Well, that's actually pretty good defense of my Supra argument.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the FRS have made A86 like worthless?
Do they drive similar?
Yeah,
about as similar as a 25-year, 30-year-old gap.
My suspicion is that A86 is a lot more like raw and like analog, whatever the fuck that means, but like it's much more kind of like alive feeling.
But I thought that's the whole point of the FRS
yeah.
is the whole analog driving experience.
I mean, the FRS,
they tried.
The FRS was
They just
literally
can't.
inspired by.
Yeah,
They were like they tried to channel.
They tried, and they did a lot right there. But I think the A86 is so purposely so popular because it's so raw. It's kind of like E30 M3. It's like that thing's slow as fuck.
Well, I would say it's popular because of all the culture around it. Same as the Supra.
Yeah, no.
Initial D, Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
shit.
I would agree with Garrett on that one.
Yeah, I think so, but I
would say like the FRS just, if anything, it just generated more interest in the E86 when it came out, as opposed to people like abandoning the 86 for the FRS.
What did the prices do on those? Those are like unchanged, or they go?
Oh, they've just kind of continuously been going up
steadily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because.
But it's in a way those are also kind of like a Supra because there's almost zero stock examples left. Mm-hmm. Like there was never really stock ones.
Yeah, but I think those, like, part of the draw of those was kind of this like underdog, kind of like you're just sort of like the poor kid. I mean, wasn't the initial D storyline this like fucking tofu driver, or something? You know, it's kind of like you're trying to identify with that, where it's like I just care about. I'm like, you know, it's kind of like quirky kid who's into cars or whatever. Where it's like the whole myth of the Supra is that it's like top dog. It's like the baddest.
Or like it could be made to be the baddest.
Right.
Yeah, it was like, this is the thing. I mean, it's like it got popular because of like Paul Walker and Vin Diesel acting like it's so bad. You know, it's like,
I have to say, I mean, this is kind of off topic, but I have to say that anyone that was like seriously inspired by the Fast and Furious movies, I've always kind of laughed at.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that, like, I still like. I'll hear that from people. I'm like, ever since I saw Fast and Furious, I love cars.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
like when they're posting on like a Paul Walker memorial Instagram post or something. It's like, I'll always love you for inspiring my enthusiasm about cars or something.
Yeah, I'm like, well, damn, you do you.
Mm-hmm. Good job. You touched us all.
I do have to say, I don't know, have I sent you guys the link? There's like this Craig Lieberman. He like kind of started his own YouTube channel. He was like the consultant on the Fast movies, and he like essentially found and built, like, I think the Supra and the GTR and that 240 SX were actually his personal cars.
Oh, really? He lent them to them.
Yeah, he like lent them to him, and then he like worked it as a consultant on all the Fast movies, like finding and building the cars. But they're pretty interesting stories. Like he's done like, you know, the Eclipse, the Supra, the 3 Civics and stuff like that. It's kind of a cool behind the scenes if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
New Supra, man.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
It's dumping on the old one. I'm over the old one now.
You never really even were on the old, like you never really cared about the Mark IV, and now you care less.
I care even less. Yeah. I think why I want it to go down in value is because
you secretly want one really bad.
Yeah, I was like, I never wanted one, and I never like respected the hype.
You never respected the elders.
Yeah, I never respected the elders, and now that there's something that's better, it's like like suck it. Mm-hmm. You know, all these people who thought it was like gonna forever go down as like the baddest fucking car. No, new one, picked up where they left off. Anyways, the respect your elders thing, like, I don't know, I don't really feel that.
Yeah, it seems like certain brands, like Porsche. That brand always seems to have like a strong connection between like the old and the new.
Yeah.
But like others, like, I don't know, like Honda or whatever, like I don't think the guy that buys a whatever 2017 SI gives a shit about some 80s one usually.
Yeah.
It's
I guess I would. It's like that sticker deserves to be on a car like 2% of the time, because it'll be some like, wow, this is like some built up.
Yeah.
Or you could just not put
like well preserved. Yeah, or does not use it. But it's like, it should kind of be something that demands respect, I guess, by nature, instead of just like, I respect you for driving such a cheap car, I guess. Like you're not commanding respect here.
It's making a point.
But yeah, it is kind of weird. I think we touched on it a little bit. Maybe that's what he's talking about. When there'll be someone who like has an old Cobalt, and like gets a new one or something, or they like, or like a Cavalier or something. You're like, no. They're just like, I just like it. I mean, I don't know why.
It's just what I do.
Maybe it becomes part of their identity or something. Like they don't know what they'd do if they didn't have a Cavalier.
Yeah, well, it seems like there's a lot of people like at some point like they just are forced, like whatever car is kind of forced upon them, or like that's all they can afford, and then like even if they could technically afford something better, they still like kind of stick up for it. Like I'm a Cavi guy, like through and through.
They're locked into grandma's Ford Tempo.
Yeah, and it's like
it's actually like a 3-valve motor. Like it's like some redeeming. Well, I don't know if you know, but like this is the first time they put a vapor barrier inside the door panel, and so it's pretty
lavish.
The road noise pretty quiet.
Yeah, so like being like whatever car that is kind of becomes part of them. Even if it's not the best vehicle, they kind of stick with it because it'd be like giving it. They would like if they actually got rid of it for something better, they'd be like shitting on their own point.
Yeah, they'd be admitting there. See, that's the thing. I think if super values stay high, it's only because people have so much shame around there.
They're too scared to buy a new one.
Yeah, around their previous enthusiasm, they don't want to admit. They don't want to admit how much better the new one is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I guess I did do that. I had a 80s 300ZX and I bought a 90s one.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
I think because maybe for some people, like any car you get, you kind of start learning about that brand a little bit.
Yeah.
And then maybe like as you get some more money, you just like climb up the brand. You know?
Yeah.
Some brand allegiance. I don't know.
When you move from a Cobalt to a Cruise.
Yeah, right.
Upgrade.
I just love the way Chevy does. Yeah. Okay, here's something unrelated. I live in it's a college town, essentially.
As you can tell from the room he's in.
As you can tell by the decor in this room. And like in recent years, there's been this influx of like wealthy Asians, essentially. And like
Crazy
they're
rich
into
Asians.
yeah, it's just like it is a thing that's happening. And like a lot of them are kind of like into having like cool cars. And so there's this kind of like uptick in like new M3s and stuff. Like that's a super popular one.
Yeah.
But the other one that I have noticed is the Maserati Gran Turismo. I think that's what it's called. Here's a picture of it. It's like their 2-door coupe thing. I think it's a 4-seater. And I've read a little bit about them. First of all, they depreciate like a fucking rock.
Yeah.
Shock.
It's like they fucking depreciate like a tea bag or something. I don't know. And so like you can find these things like pretty cheap. Like they're still I think they're in their original generation.
That's different than the Quattroporte, whatever that was like. That's the one that looks kind of dumb, right? The old one.
That's the 4-door one.
They still make a Quattro.
I don't know anything about the brand, and I didn't do any research
Nor did I.
leading into it. But let me tell you, this seems to be like a popular car with the like younger, affluent crowd. And I kind of like them. It's kind of doing something for me.
Kind of growing on you.
They're reliable.
Yeah.
They sound pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And so, like, I started looking
Those
on...
have Ferrari motors, right? Yeah,
I think so.
I don't know.
Some kind of, like, 4.7 something.
Yeah.
Anyways, like most things, I start by looking on CarMax. It's just like, what
Go
can
to the
I,
source.
what can I, like, quickly and easily, like, find one of these things for? And they're pretty cheap. You can find them like high 30s for these things.
Yeah.
And they're like over 100.
What year is that? Like 2014?
It's like 2015, 2014. Yeah. Supposedly they're reliable. But the other thing I was thinking about CarMax is you can fucking get a warranty at CarMax for like $3,000 on any car.
Yeah.
It's crazy on any car. And so there is this super seductive way to live your life, your automotive life, where you're buying shit every few years through CarMax, specifically potentially unreliable high performance
Letting
cars.
them bear the risk.
Yeah.
And then you buy the warranty and you just drive the fuck out of that thing. And then like trade it in. Like you can get like V10 M5s and like V12 Benzes and stuff. Like you know how baller that would be? And it's like you're gonna lose some money, like but they've already depreciated a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they already lost the bulk of their depreciation.
I could probably trade my Type R straight across.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a Type R, you could get like a Mercedes like S63 long wheelbase with like 40,000 miles and fucking roll the dice with that max care, bro, like $3,500. You blow a coil pack on that thing, it's gonna pay for itself. And so I'm like, damn, I look at that every few like months. It's like I should really be driving like a big body AMG Benz, some like black.
Hit the track.
Yeah, drive the shit out of that thing because you have a like full like platinum warranty. So I don't know. It is definitely there. I've heard people say this before. It's not a new thought, but like I'm kind of shocked it doesn't get taken advantage.
That's what your brother's friend does. He bought a M5.
Yeah, he bought what's the F30? Is that the previous?
F10.
F10.
Yeah, he bought it from CarMax with a warranty,
Yeah.
and he takes it to the track, and then he just uses it for work.
Yeah.
All the other time, he's like, I don't care.
It's like it's essentially like leasing a used car.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not that expensive. I don't think. I mean, those things aren't going to lose. You're probably going to end up losing.
I guess the only like potential problem is if it actually breaks down a lot, then you just won't get to drive it too much.
Yeah, it'll just be in the shop.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have two at a time.
Yeah.
Rotate them.
If it breaks down, you just go buy a different one. And sell it
Then again,
back.
those dealers might give you a loaner, probably, but still probably not as
Yeah,
cool as
I wonder.
Maserati.
Yeah, you're in like a PT Cruiser. Yeah. Anyways, that just came up. I was like, shit. I wonder if I should just transition into that lifestyle because I could be driving a Maserati. I could look like some wealthy foreigner. I could be in that circle.
Yeah.
I need to break into that lifestyle. Maybe that's all they're doing. Fuck. Okay. Anyways,
Damn.
speaking of hyper relevant, let's we really
Popeyes?
fucking Popeyes.
Yeah.
Let me talk about one thing before we end on spoiler alert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Popeye's chicken sandwiches. We got a little something for you.
But that's the whole point of this new format. We can be like strikingly relevant
Totally.
with the times.
Kevin Hart's back injury.
Yeah.
Shit. What we're lacking in hardware quality, we're making up for in
Relevance. Yeah. Breaking news.
Timeliness.
Yeah. I fixed something on the M5. Like they do this weird thing where the seats will break in such a way where like you'll go to recline them
Wait,
and only
can I
one
just say
side.
that the idea of like a seat breaking in a car?
What?
I'm pretty sure like I don't know if the seat broke.
Like the upright bracket?
Like I've been in a car where like someone will like punch it and the seat will literally
Like
just
fall backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops,
The
it
one
does
thing
that.
you'd like to count on not breaking.
Yeah.
Like basically the thing that makes it a vehicle.
And then they'll be like,
you can sit.
oh yeah, that seat breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like it was someone's seat rails were fucked up.
You know, something.
And they would floor it and you'd slide all
Slide
the way
back.
back violently. Like out of the seatbelt and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, right, it does that. It's like the
Should have warned you.
little catch was fucked up. So anyways, like these were not broken in that way, but if you went to adjust them, they would adjust unevenly. It's called seat twist. And it's like ultra common, which is really annoying. On like generations of BMWs, like they chose not to fix this thing. And so I'm looking up how to fix it, and people are like, they'll be like, oh, this is like a 5-minute fix. Like you go out, you slice this thing with a box cutter and you like tape it together for like 5 minutes. And I'm like,
Get your timer out.
like, yeah, like I can do this. It's fucking like hour and a half at least, and I'm like sweaty and cut up by the end of it. It's
5-minute fix.
Yeah, it's like maybe if you've done it like 10 times.
What can you actually do in 5 minutes aside from like take a piss?
I was gonna say,
yeah. It's like, but people do this. They do this fucking thing where they want to like. It's like, look, no one knows who you are. Like, why are you showing off to people who literally don't know who you are? Like, oh yeah, it's like a 5 minute. I like had a beer and took my time. It was 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But it's like wildly like not
realistic.
You can't get to like a bolt or something. So it's like I don't know. Just the topic of people like massively downplaying the amount of time and effort that goes into a repair.
Especially on a car.
Acting like that gets them anything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like damn.
You must be doing something wrong, bro. He can do it in 5 minutes.
You know, like Billy V8 2150 is like a super cool guy.
It's because all the ladies searching the forums are like, damn, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's like, so then I'm working on this thing of like cutting into my wrist because of some weird angle. I'm just like, fucking 5 minutes. I'm all mad at these people. Like, I knew it was going to take longer than that, but it's like, I don't know. People are so dumb about that. It's like, show me the guy who did this in 15 minutes.
Or you could just YouTube it and you'd be like, okay, everyone. So I've had a few people ask me about.
Yeah, you need like a 5-minute intro and then a 5-minute.
Okay, and final.
Okay,
so now to close it out.
Let's get to the good stuff.
As eagle-eyed viewers have probably noticed, we regularly have Popeyes like drinks on the table when we do the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's one of our go-to lunch spot. Yet almost every time, actually.
Pretty much every time, yeah.
Yeah, because there's not one near me where I live. So like every time I come down, I'm like,
you're hankering. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was when did we start going there like regularly? Like
I think when we started the podcast,
a little more than a year ago.
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it was our friend Eric who watched the
Eric?
podcast. What's up, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, Popeye is pretty good. You guys try Popeyes. It was like 2 years ago or something. And we went. We're like, this is good.
Yeah,
like this is solid.
Yeah,
so it's like,
so it ended up becoming like our regular go-to.
Yeah,
like Sunday lunch in between podcasts. In our old way of doing podcasts, not the new high tech one. Now.
On episode 0 through 51.
Yeah.
Heavily backed by Popeyes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I'm sure everyone's heard like they have a new chicken sandwich.
It's blown up.
That's been like it's sold out. It's
yeah,
it's a real hot commodity.
I haven't kept up to date if it's currently available.
No, I think as of now, I think they've pretty much like kind of just taken it off their menu.
Oh man,
like temporarily at least.
Yeah,
like
till they can figure out how to get bread or whatever the fuck they need
whatever the problem is
to make it.
Yeah, till they can raise more chickens.
Yeah. But I remember whenever the last time the last podcast we recorded,
it was right when we got back from Monterey.
So it was like
2 weeks ago,
the day or the day after. And we remember we went to Popeyes.
Yeah,
and it said like, oh, they have a chicken sandwich. And we're like, oh, maybe we should try that. And then we go to order, and then they said, oh, sorry, like we don't have.
The guy was like, oh, do you want something to drink? And we were like, yeah. And he's like, oh, we only have diet because they have like that multi-drink Coke machine that has like all the 50 flavors, and every soda was out except for like Diet Coke.
Yeah, and then me and Coyne were fine with it.
Nope, I was like not having it.
And you were like, nope,
deal breaker.
So we went somewhere else.
Yeah, went to Chipotle.
We walked next door and went somewhere else, and then like later that day or something.
Yeah, the news broke.
Is when like the chicken sandwich like blew up.
The craze. And
then like since then they just haven't had them. And I've like driven by there a couple times, and I've seen just a like shitty paper sign.
Sorry,
just like sorry, we don't have sandwiches.
Right.
Yeah, they're like handwritten.
Yeah.
No sandwich.
And I remember like, one time I drove there, and I think it was like 11. So it was like pretty early, like pretty close to when they opened. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll see if they have it. I was like, I kind of feel like Popeyes anyways. But the sign was there. So I was like, oh, fuck, I'm just going to get some, whatever usual non-sandwich things in there.
Tendies.
Just get some tendies. And I saw like 2 cars behind me in the drive-thru to see the sign and then just leave.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck this. Like, I only want the sandwich.
Back out.
Yeah, they just say like pulled out. Yeah, it wasn't like they weren't boxed in, but they were able to pull out.
I only like my chicken between pieces of bread.
Yeah, but anyways, I just feel like we've been kind of cheated because we were such loyal.
Loyal customers.
And now, if we talk about it, people are just going to think we're, some bandwagon.
We ain't no chumps.
Yeah, some bandwagon like social media, chicken sandwich people. But I just wanted to set.
I'm done with
Yeah, I just
Popeyes.
wanted to set the record straight that.
It's one of those restaurants where like every time we go there, something's wrong.
But we still
like they like slightly fuck the order up, or like they're out of something, or something takes too long, or there's like a homeless person yelling inside the store, like any number of things.
We put up with all that. We never got to try this famous sandwich that's taking the world
when
by
it dies
storm.
down in a bit.
Yeah, so
it's like the new Supra of chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
Nobody even wants the tendies.
Yeah,
anymore.
I just felt like they've turned their back on us.
Yeah,
After so much we've given them.
They also need to
pretty
sort
let
out the
down.
fucking soda machine. Because the time before that we went too, like half the flavors were gone too.
Whoops,
Yeah.
sorry.
I know. It's a hard deal being a Popeyes manager, apparently.
All right, so we have just decided next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on the 11th.
Next Wednesday, September 11th.
Next Wednesday, we're going to do our first and potentially continue it from there.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
New format, live stream.
Live stream
Weekly
format.
live format, which will be released after the following day, I guess. That's
it'll be launched Thursday in audio form, only on iTunes and
regular
everything like
feeds,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so
We still haven't really tested it.
that's what this weekend's for.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, next Wednesday.
Some changes, you'll be notified.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. Thank you for putting up with the janky setup. Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, if you're not a patron,
Do it.
it's probably only patrons who've made it this far. Please sign up for Patreon. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for your support. Thanks for being a fan. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Sounds good.
6:30
Be there.
Pacific time.
Don't forget.
Don't forget. Bye.